Welcome to the Juiice and Pops Show. Pops currently is not here. Pops right now is chilling. We're gonna get into it here in a couple of minutes. Chat if anybody is in the live podcast right now. Currently, you guys are more than welcome to add to the chat a couple of Q&A questions. We'll get to them before and after we do the reaction/review to the Bears game. The Bears got it done, chat. It was good to see. Okay, I got my windows set up for the most part, but I do gotta swap one of them out. Chat right now is the Ask Questions segment to start the podcast off. If you guys would like to, you guys are more than welcome to ask some questions in the chat if you guys are in here, and then I'm going to get one last thing set up for you guys, and we're all good. Do the rolly. We'll do this first. If anyone is in the podcast currently right now, if you guys have any questions about the Bears game that just happened, I'll throw it up on the screen real quick so you guys know what we're talking about. We're talking about the Bears versus the Eagles. The Bears ended up getting it done 24-15. We're going to shoot a small segment to it, chat. But right now, if anybody has any questions, go ahead. Do the rolly. Okay, I don't know if anyone is in the podcast right now to drop any questions, so we're just going to keep it moving. I do have ESPN pulled up. I do have some stats. We're going to throw up some stats for you guys as well, too. Okay, and then we will change that as we go. Right there through the nosebleed. My bad, chat. Randomly singing song quotes in my song lyrics in my head. We can take the questions. We can leave that on for a couple more minutes. If anybody has any questions, go ahead. Okay, quality looks good on the phone. It hasn't dropped none on the stream. Chat, I'm trying to give it like 10 minutes now, chat, because around like that 15 to 20 minute mark, it usually crashes really bad, and I don't want it to mess anything up. So trying to give it about 10 minutes, chat, and then I'm going to get into it. Right there through the rolly. Okay, chat. I don't think no one's in the building, so we're just gonna jump straight into the shit. While y'all here, let's tap into it, chat. Well. The Bears end up getting it done 24-15. I was not expecting that. I was not ready for that. But I'm kind of all for it. I think Chicago's been waiting for somebody to help get it done since Jay Cutler. But I kind of really want to give a big applause to Ben Johnson. I think Ben Johnson has been phenomenal for the Bears. I think everything that they have been doing up until this point has really made a lot of sense when it comes to Chicago. They really have not paid too much attention to the outside noise. They kind of let their game speak for themselves. Everybody wants to write them off every week, even myself sometimes. And then next thing you know, the Bears are 9-3, beating the Eagles. Chat. I don't know how to call it besides giving a lot of love to Ben Johnson and a lot of love to the offense and defensive side of that ball. They just got Jalen Johnson back on that DB side. Swift and Kyle look. I mean, the two running back situation, Chad, it looks phenomenal. I do want to get into a quick historic moment for you guys. Let me pull up my notepad. For the first time since 1985, the Chicago Bears have had two running backs rush for over 100 yards in the same game. Saquon Barkley was on the other side, and it seemed like it was all Chicago. Shout out to Saquon. He did have I think he left two drops out there, and he got really booed for one of them, and they were kind of out of the game already anyways. But I get the booing, but come on, like, he's a superstar. He dropped the ball. It's not too much of a big deal. You guys were kind of basically already out of the game, but not really, so I get it. I thought the boos were a little heavy, but also that can, have a little effect, chat, when the Chicago Bears rush for 200-plus yards with two running backs. They're averaging around 7 yards a carry. It's hard to win a football game when you got two running backs that dominant, creating history that hasn't been made in the last almost 50 years. It's tough. Shout out to both of the running backs for getting it done. Let me throw up a quick quarterback comparison for you guys, because I do want to talk about this just a little bit. So we do have a quarterback debate here. Let's get this on screen. Sorry, if it looks super small, my bad, you guys. I'll get it right the next time. But Caleb Williams had 154 passing yards. So both running backs had around the same yards total as Caleb Williams. But Caleb Williams had 36 passing attempts. He completed 17 of them. He also had an interception that was left out there. But Jalen Hurts had one as well, so they kind of counter each other. Both quarterbacks performed around the same exact spot. And I think the big difference here was being able to have DeAndre Swift and Kyle go absolutely berserk for Chicago. And then you're depending on Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley to equal that same rushing, which you can bank on Saquon to get that. But I think the game got away from them at a couple different times. And then they got right back in the game at a couple different times. And I think the game could have went either way until that third quarter. Chicago gets that. I think Caleb Williams rolled out to his left. He had a nice little floater right in the breadbasket in the end zone. And I think that touchdown kind of sealed the game. I think that touchdown was the turning point when it came to that 10-9 ball game. And then now it goes to a 2-score ball game, but Chicago was already playing very, very well all around. Now, the defense doesn't look like the best defense in the league. The offense doesn't look like the best offense in the league. But the biggest thing about getting into the back end of the season and going into the playoffs, I think, is being able to have an offense and a defense that can click during the same games. And I believe if you can do that in the National Football League, I believe you give yourself a very good chance to be able to win majority of your games. And I believe we're seeing Chicago do that exact thing right now. Whether the offense or defense makes up a little bit more in certain games, you're still being able to see Ben Johnson dial up the right things and to be able to have the team ready to go on offense or defense no matter how the game looks. And there's so many different variables that go in there, but all in all, I just want to tip my cap to the Chicago Bears for being able to play sound football on offense and defense and get everything going at the same time during the same games to be able to come out with these wins like they are. I believe the Packers are doing the same thing in certain games, even if you can say the same thing for multiple teams, and the teams right now that seem to be getting it done and they are at the top of their division or fighting for the top of their division right now are currently, the Bears, Packers, and teams that are currently getting it done on offense and defense on both sides of the ball. So shout out to both teams, but big shout out to Chicago Bears. I think the Eagles will be able to bounce back, but we're going to get into the rest of that. Or the rest of that. Sorry, I'm talking too fast. Let's get into this running back game real quick. I want to pull up some of these stats for you guys. So the Chicago Bears, this was their running stats. Kyle Monagai, I know I'm saying your name wrong. I do apologize. He had around 6 yards a carry, and then Swift was averaging around 7, so it was around 6.5, not around 7 yards a carry. But combined, they had 40 carries for 255 yards and 2 touchdowns. They completely took over the game. And DJ Moore, yes, he got a carry, and yes, Burden got a carry as well. But we have seen that in the Chicago Bears offense throughout the season, and I don't think that that's something that is new. I think that is something that will also still happen in the playoffs. So I don't think just because they had a phenomenal running day that these wide receivers both got a carry on this day. I think that this can very well be the stat line in the playoffs and how Chicago gets it done. Now, do I think both running backs can go out there for 255 yards on 40 carries and get 2 touchdowns? I'm not sure on how much I'm sold on that and how much I am a believer. But I do believe that both running backs together can combine for anywhere between 100 to 150 yards every week. Every week, 100%. Even if you interchange them and neither one of them are hot, I still think that both running backs play very well off of each other. And I think Swift's ego is not in play, and he allows whatever the coaching staff to say goes, even in his mind. And there's not a lot of running backs in the league that are a starting running back that I feel can do that during a season while a rookie running back is having a phenomenal breakout season. So I want to tip my cap to Swift for being able to do that to a rookie, because at the quarterback position, wide receiver, DB, linebacker, there's a lot of guys not willing and not wanting to do that, and it can cause friction. And I believe that Swift allowed his ego and his pride to not even be in the way at all and allow Chicago to really get this thing rolling and be able to make a dominant stance in the playoffs. I don't know how dominant they can be, but I think these next couple of weeks will really give us a lot of information on that. Let's talk about the Eagles' run game just a little bit here. Now, the Eagles had Saquon Barkley, and honestly, I'm taking Saquon over Swift and over Kyle. And that's no disrespect. I think they can understand where any fan is coming from. But when you look at these numbers, 13 for 56, he averaged 4 yards a carry, no tug. It doesn't look terrible, but it don't look good. And then when you compare it to what we just got done looking at, it looks like one of the most dominant players in the NFL had no presence in a big game against the Bears. And when the Bears are going for the top of the division and they're going for the number 1 seed, or they're going for the top seed in their division. So it's tough to look at around 80, 90 yards, and that's with the quarterback being included that usually rushes for that every game no matter what. It's tough to look at that and then see 255 total yards go to 2 running backs. I think that was the big turning point when it comes to the game as an overall look. Now, the game was still 10-9 going into the third. Chicago later on in the quarter ends up going up. I believe, like we said earlier, that was the turning point. But going up or leading up to that moment, I believe Chicago was not only in the game, they were there to show that they could win the game at any facet, at multiple different levels. So I want to commend both teams for playing today, but big shout out to the Chicago Bears for being able to get it done and holding down Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts. Let me see. I do believe I have the receivers for you guys as well. Let me get a drink of water real quick. All right. Now, what I want to do is I want to pull up the Bears and the Eagles receiving at the same time. Okay. So let's get this for you guys. Sorry for everybody watching this on the video. I probably won't cut this out because it's only like a couple of seconds. My apologies. But yeah. Okay. So here we go. We have Philadelphia versus Chicago Bears receiving side. A.J. Brown had 10 catches for 132, 2 touchdowns. Devontae Smith had 5 for 48. Dallas Goedert had 2 for 27. Dotson 1 for 12, and Will Shipley, rookie running. Is he a rookie still, Chet, or is he a first year? Shipley. No, I think because he came from Clemson, right? I could be wrong, but I believe he came from Clemson. I think second year. But anyways, Cole Kmet had the big touchdown on. I don't know what down it was, but it was in the third quarter. And this is the touchdown that I was referring to. Cole Kmet receives a 28-yard touchdown in the end zone to seal the game with 3 catches, 3 targets for 36 yards. Burden had 4 for 33. Loveland had 3 for 28. Omadi, Zacchaeus, I know I'm probably saying his first name wrong, had 2 for 19. DJ Moore had 2 for 17, which I think was a big shock. And one of them came, because he had 1 for 11. He had one short one that was in the red zone to try to help seal the drive. DeAndre Swift had 1 for 13, and Rome Odunze had 2 for 8. Now, I know a lot of people are curious on what's going on with Odunze and why he's not being this super splash wide receiver. I don't think that Ben Johnson is trying to dial up an offense to have somebody consistently be a superstar. I think he is currently trying to dial up an offense that says, hey, let's win a football game. However we got to win it, we're going to be ready to do whatever we got to do in all of these situations. And let's just make sure that we win this football game. And I think that is very beneficial right now for the Chicago Bears. And as you see with A.J. Brown getting 10 catches for 132 yards, I feel like some Eagles fans or some fans out there are going to start complaining about, well, A.J. Brown was crying about not getting the ball, saying that he was, whatever the case was, right, from your perspective. Now, the games that he does get the ball, he does get a lot of these targets, they lose. So, is it better for the Eagles to allow A.J. Brown to not be the main target in the game so that they can win games? Or is it better for him to be the main target in the games and then for them to struggle to win and lose games? That may be a narrative. I don't know if I think that is one, but even when you look at the stats and when you watch the game, it looks different. So when you look at the stats, I can understand that viewpoint. But when you watch the game, I can't understand that viewpoint because, once again, it was 9-10. And then before that touchdown to Cole Kmet, the game was right there, but it still seemed like Chicago was ready to win the football game. They had Jalen Hurts dialed in. Shout out to the defense. They played phenomenal. They made sure that they kept Jalen Hurts at bay, allowed what they wanted with A.J. Brown, to an extent, and made sure that no one else could beat them in the game, and especially Jalen Hurts. And then they kept everything in front of them and just tried to play sound football with Saquon Barkley. Now, should the Eagles adapt to their offense? I think that is going to be the big thing that we should talk about for a second. Was the Eagles' offense too simple? Or was the Eagles' offense too plain? What would you guys think? And while you guys think about that, I would say let's change it up just a little bit. I'm not saying that we have to go Chip Kelly. We don't got to go Chip Kelly. We don't got to go do all of these extravagant things. But I think it'll be very beneficial if they adapt and adjust their offensive scheme somewhat so it doesn't seem so telegraphed. I believe the offense seems a little telegraphed to an extent, especially from a defensive scheme and schematic standpoint. But I'm also not an NFL athlete, chat, and I'm not a player, so take everything with a grain of salt. But from a fan's perspective, it looks like the offensive side for the Eagles isn't in playoff mode. And it doesn't look like they're the same team that was the Super Bowl champions. It looks like the team that was trying to figure out who the Super Bowl champions were before Jason Kelce retired. So I think once they understand their offensive scheme a little bit better and figure out how they want to deliver a win for themselves, then I think, the Eagles will be just fine. But until then, they might, have a couple hiccups here and there. I don't think that they're going to lose every game throughout the rest of the season. I don't think that they're going to miss the playoffs. But I'm not sure on what we're going to get when it comes to the playoffs. But I do know that they have been there multiple times, and they've also won a Super Bowl. So you can bank your hat that they will be able to perform when it comes to playing in the playoffs. You just are not 100% sure on what you're going to get. But they will be there for the playoffs, and they will perform. And that's everything that I got. Shout out to the Bears for being able to get this done. Once again, big, big win. They're completely shaking up the entire NFC right now. The Packers are helping shake up the NFC right now. The Cowboys are helping shake up the NFC right now. So I can't wait to see what happens in the NFC, and I can't wait to see what happens in the AFC going into the playoffs, and then what teams do get in and how they perform. So if you guys are new, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to the podcast. Pops will be on a live stream or, the next podcast real soon. You guys get videos tomorrow. And, remember, if we can do it, you guys can too. All right, that's done. All right, I could hear you, though. I just was in the middle of shooting that video. I could hear your background. Samayo. All right, chat. It's kind of dead in here right now. I think I went live too late. That is on me. Make sure you guys subscribe, like, and share the Juice and Pop Show. If you guys are new or already subscribed and whatnot, just make sure you share it. Show some love, or tap into the videos that drop tomorrow throughout the rest of the week. Or there's a bunch of videos that have dropped this week. We covered every game that happened, and then we also have dropped stuff that happened last week as well. So make sure you guys go check out those videos if you guys would like to. And once again, Pops will be here on another show real soon. We love y'all. We appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And always remember, if we can, you can too. Oh, dang. Oh, my goodness. I got so many videos and things pulled up for you guys that I didn't even throw into the whatchamacall. I didn't even throw it into the video for you guys. And that's on me. But I may end up adding it to the video off camera. I don't know. But anyways, appreciate you guys. If we can, you can too.